Welcome back to the podcast. We'd like to thank our mother for coming on last week. That was actually our most viewed podcast. So I hope listeners at home extracted a lot of value out of that. And we'll definitely have our mother come back on to talk more specifically about certain finance things such as taxes or setting up savings. So stay tuned for those. But today we're going to be talking about various different things. First off, it was actually my birthday this past Tuesday, so February 15th. I just turned 23, which was pretty big. I mean, I'm not a huge birthday guy, but I mean, every day, another year passed, and now I'm 23, which is kind of crazy. Yeah. And then we had the Super Bowl last week, which was pretty cool. Davis had some good takes on what he thought, or good analysis of the game leading up to it. But today we're probably going to dive into how much energy one has in a day and the mindset in which we approach days. So I guess you have anything to start off with?
Yes. First, we just want to say a big thank you to our mom for sharing those financial tips. That can have a lot of value as we come to crunch time and tax season. So hopefully everyone got a ton out of that. Brennan and I get a lot out of it, living by those rules. So that's big. And then this week was Brennan's birthday. It's February 15th, so it's Tuesday. He was able to celebrate a little bit yesterday, and then today we're having the family over for a family dinner too. So hopefully Brennan had a great time. Just gives him a little bit of a chance to shift into gear. And yeah, let's get this thing going.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So the thought is you only have so much energy to give in a day. I've heard this from other people speak in podcasts, and it's all about how do you put that energy to certain things where it's going to impact your long-term goals or your short-term goals, and it's all about balancing it. I mean, I see it now where your body adapts. Where in the early morning runs we used to do,
yes,
I get gassed, but now I can do a run, go to work, and then lift, and
box some days.
Yeah, and box some days. So I guess it is being consistent. That's a huge thing, consistency. But then I read a book. It was called, I can't remember what it was called, but it was all about a neutral mindset, which is you never get too high on the good things that happen in life, and you never get too low because it kind of throws you off balance. Instead, you've got to keep a neutral mindset and kind of stay in the middle where you do celebrate the good things, but then you also take the bad things, but it doesn't completely bring you down and you're not way up in the sky. If that makes sense, because it kind of just keeps you level. Because the book it's about a sports psychologist, and he works with Russell Wilson, and he's all about keeping a neutral mindset. You're gonna have negative thoughts, but as long as you can control it and just not let the past affect the next. Because his example is if Russell Wilson throws a bad pass, that bad pass isn't gonna affect the next play.
Yes, he resets.
Yeah, it's all about resetting
in the right spot.
Which is tough.
Yes. Yeah, it's an interesting take. One of the reasons we're bringing it up is I'm having a negative day overall. I'm dealing with some criticisms just on how I present myself, how I look, maybe not always being as organized and respectful as possible. And that severely negatively impacted me today. And I'd say, right now, the biggest thing is if you get the feedback and it's from someone you really value. Like I can imagine Russell Wilson, just talking about his family. I know Pete Carroll was his longtime coach as well. Probably matters more to them if they hear it. But just when you hear something like that, for me, it's just honestly even like your biology, like just negative. It's probably the chemicals in you. Where I still got after it today. I mean, I ran for an hour. I got some lifting in, but it's just you can feel it's just not the same energy going at it, even if I try.
Yeah, but is it a bad thing to have days where you're not like everyone has days that you don't feel good?
Yeah.
And all the successful people say, oh, it's the days that you don't feel good, but you still put the work in is what separates.
Yes.
So is it a bad thing to face criticism?
I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't face too much of it. So it's something, a lot of times I've got a lot of energy every day and getting it done. But it's really tough. I can't imagine for people who deal with it really consistently battling with it, what it's like.
Yeah, everyone goes through it. And it's tough, but usually you gotta, I don't know, kind of take the criticism. This is how I do it. If it's criticism from parents, bosses, take the criticism. Then you kind of digest it, and then you passes through your moral compass and guidelines, and then you extract what you deem important or what actually matters. Because I bet there's a lot of criticism where it's just noise, but there are if people that love you and care about you are giving you criticism. You can take it how you want, but it's probably something for you to digest and see.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a tough spot. It's just like you're saying, digest thing. I don't know if you agree with some of it, if you don't agree with it. It's just a tough situation. But I mean, in terms of actual energy consumption, when you're on a high, no problem at all. I mean, yesterday we were talking about I cranked 2.5 hours on the bike. I ate, I think, 3,000 calories, mostly just rice after, and I was ready to go. Always amped up, just fueling up, because I think you can always get more energy, even if you're on a high. Just human body's made to just go and go and go if you really have to.
Yeah, it's momentum.
I think so.
And then once you get the momentum, you gotta run with it, because the momentum will eventually run out.
Not
You don't
necessarily.
think so?
Something has to stop it. It's that old science.
Yeah, but
something in
momentum-
motion stays in motion until a competing force stops it.
Yeah, but I guess my argument is that no matter what, momentum's kind of like this, and eventually you'll plateau. And then you plateau, but you could be still scaling, and then you could get more momentum.
Yeah.
I feel like no one just is like this. You think people are just like that?
I don't know. Maybe. Maybe there are speed bumps. Maybe it can be decreased acceleration. So you're still going up, just at a slow
Yeah, so you kind of lose momentum in a way. Like you hit an obstacle, for instance, if it's a company, and then you, at the beginning, you do a ton of sales, and then you run into supply chain issues, then you start losing the momentum. So I think it's really critical I think momentum's temporary, like that crazy growth, and then in the long run, it's just a consistent momentum.
Yes.
But it's tough.
Yeah, just the way that you look at it. Yeah, there's no right or wrong answer, I guess, in the analysis. Just however it goes. I mean, some people will go down, they'll go back up, whether they have injuries or some type of setback, and they recover.
Yeah.
Because I agree, it's best if you just have a neutral mindset and every day you're just making steady progress, chipping away. It would be the best. But I'm definitely more of an ups and downs type of person.
Yeah, you definitely tend to ride the highs. But I don't disagree with riding the highs. Like if you achieve something that you've been working towards, then you have to celebrate. There's no reason not to. But then I just see that the downside where if you take negative events it's all on a different level though, because there are some negative events that will shock your world.
Yes.
So we're talking in broad terms right now, because
anything.
It could be anything. Like for instance, if your family member dies,
Yeah, that's probably the biggest one. Any type of loss.
then it's gonna be hard for you to cope with that.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't know, just try to keep a neutral mind. That's what I try to do. I just try to keep a neutral mindset. But I mean, if something like that, you lose a family member, and it's something that you really love, there's no way to, because your life will never be the same.
Yeah.
Because we talk about that. It's that when somebody passes away that was such a big part in your life, it's like, wow, it's kind of like you have another life.
Yes.
Because they're not going to be a
before
part.
and after.
It's crazy.
Yeah, because for us, it was our grandfather. About almost a year and a half ago now when he passed, and we just saw the impact it left in our family. Just not to have him there, because he'd been there. He lived right down the street from us our whole lives.
Well, we were fortunate because we had all three of our grandparents are still alive, but we had four of them pretty much for a long time, where I was 21 when our grandfather passed away. But even that,
we're so lucky.
We were so lucky, but going up to that, because we hadn't really lost anyone in our family, it felt as if we were invincible and it was going to last forever, which is kind of a childish mindset, because nothing lasts forever. But then because our aunt also died as well, in like the same couple of months.
Yeah, it's a tough stretch.
And they used to come to all of our sporting events, and then once they both passed away, that's when it really hit me, where this is temporary, and no matter who you are, your time will come.
You've got to make the most of every day. You can't have time for sad, negative days because you only got so many.
Oh, you can, because sometimes those can be used as growth.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is, I was reading a book called Breathe by Hickson Gracie, who's one of the GOAT Jiu-Jitsu guys.
Mm-hmm.
And he said the biggest thing in life is just accepting everything.
Yes.
You just have to, because some things happen, like, for instance, our grandfather passed away, our great aunt passed away. There's nothing we can do, we just have to accept it and move on.
Family close.
And I think that's what humans are so good at, because there's a lot of tragedy. But if you can just accept things
For what they are.
I mean, you're not going to be the same. You just accept it for how you are, and you go from there and just keep building and doing what you love.
Yeah, that's what it all comes down to. Yeah, because Brennan's right, because all our family's pretty much in the same town or two. Everyone's only a few miles away, so they've just really been able to instill lessons in us growing up, and it's been phenomenal into shaping us who we are, and just all the memories, all the times. And once you don't have that, it's just a game changer.
You just make new memories.
Yeah, you just gotta keep powering through, I guess. That's the way it happens. Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to accept the emotions, and then just. I heard another quote too. Is I'm full of quotes.
He's got tons of them. It's a birthday boy right here.
You either if you're in a situation or a circumstance that you don't like, you either change it or you change how you think about it.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you can't change it, then you just got to change how you think about it. So if you're in a job that you don't like, you just got to see what positives could come out. For instance, I was talking to the guy at the gym. So the mask mandate at our gym was just lifted up, and he was like, "Oh, you guys must be so happy now you don't have to run with a mask on the treadmill." I was saying, "Yeah," but on the flip side, we were basically I wouldn't say we were doing altitude training, but we were while running with a mask, it restricts oxygen, and the whole idea for distance running and endurance sports is that these athletes go up into higher altitude with less oxygen, so their body becomes more efficient breaking down oxygen, and pretty much gets them way fitter quicker.
Yep.
So the masks were kind of, you could see them as a negative, which I didn't really like them that much. But on the flip side, you can say, hey, I'll just pretend I'm at altitude and get more fit.
It was definitely
Do you see
tougher.
the big difference?
Running with the mask is way tougher. I mean, because there are some days, some gyms you have to wear the mask, and the next town over you don't have to wear the mask. So when you're wearing the mask, it's tougher, you're breathing heavy. All of a sudden you go to the gym where you don't wear the mask, the workout is half as hard, maybe.
Do you think, because you ran a lot with the mask on?
With the mask on, yeah.
And
it's scary a little bit because you feel like you're choking sometimes because you don't have enough oxygen.
And the sweat kind of builds
yeah,
up too.
it builds up, you just can't get enough air.
And was there a big difference in your performance when you didn't wear a mask compared to when you wore a mask?
Definitely. I could go faster and longer. So let's say if the baseline was going to be like a 45-minute run,
Yeah.
at that same speed or a little faster, instead of running 45 minutes, I could run for like 55 minutes.
So yeah, I guess like metrics wise, let's say with the mask on, you ran 45 minutes. How many miles would you usually crank at?
45.
At what pace?
I mean, that's probably like a 7-mile run right there.
7-mile run at like
Yeah.
6 something.
Yeah, like 6:30, 6:40s on the treadmill with the slide up.
Yeah, so that's with the mask, and then without the mask, you said you did 55 miles at that same
I
speed.
think 55 minutes, probably the same speed. So you're probably going like 9 miles at the same speed. Today we took it off. I mean, I think I did like 9 miles in an hour or something. But still, it's just a lot easier. But I can notice as well in the muscles, I think if you don't get enough oxygen, you can see, because one of my favorite workouts is to bike after running. So if you go onto the bike after the run, it would just be a lot more taxing, and you can see your power will be way down.
Yeah.
But then you take the mask off, and it's way less intensive. You don't get as dehydrated.
Yeah, there's a lot of benefits to it. The other thing too is Dave is talking about going vegan potentially.
I don't know if I'll go that far.
You want to talk about that?
Sure, we'll see how it goes. I'm switching more, I guess you'd call it flexitarian diet, where I've only been eating meat once a day, because there are some things in meat that your body really needs, but other than that, I've just been eating a lot of oatmeal, rice, vegetables, fruit. I think the last couple of days I didn't eat meat. A lot more fish too.
This kid last night, all he ate for dinner, I mean, you kind of mentioned it earlier, but it was like 2 cups of brown rice and
I think 3 cups of brown rice. I looked up, it was 2,000 calories of
Rice?
brown rice.
Straight rice.
Yeah.
And then he ate a bunch of black beans.
Yeah, there's another 500 calories, salad, and that's
Yeah.
it. And raisins. Raisins are huge.
Yeah, because we brought, I don't know if you saw if people saw the Tommy Ranucci podcast, which was from a little bit back, but we got into how with a plant-based diet, you are getting those nutrients directly from the source.
Yes.
Where if you're strictly on meat, the cows are eating the grass, for example, and then they process it, and then you're getting those nutrients and the nutrients the cow has to offer through their meat. So the idea is to just get the direct nutrients instead of getting it through the cow.
Yeah, you get the most efficient energy, and just scientifically it makes sense.
You were saying there's some top endurance athletes that do that.
Yes, just when you hear about the cultures where the people live the longest as well, primarily they eat more vegetables, rice, fish in terms of some of the Asian cultures, also the Italian culture. I mean, not as much heavy red meat. Where Argentina, they eat a ton of meat. I think they have the most beef red meat consumption, and they have the highest rates of heart attack. And just like you're saying with the endurance athletes as well, a lot of the top ones were either vegans or vegetarians. So it just looks like in terms of short-term athletic performance, longest endurance, people are mostly vegetarians, like the truly elite ones. And then you look at long-term, if you want to live to be 100, 110, whatever it is, looks like a vegetarian, minimizing the meat is the way to go. So I'm going to try to make small steps in that direction.
Yeah, no, because Davis and I were talking about that yesterday.
Yeah.
Which I couldn't get. I love. Davis has a crazy diet. We're definitely going to have to do. We were talking about Davis loves oatmeal. So we might have to do. We have these big bags of oatmeal, and Davis claims he can eat one in a day.
Easily.
Or in a sitting.
If
You
we
think
do
we
it
could eat one in a sitting?
in one sitting.
How many? How?
It's about 2,000. It's about equivalent to eating the 3 cups of rice.
Just straight oatmeal, and Davis just goes water. So we might do that.
Yeah, we'll have to. One is, I mean, I'll eat it anyways, whether we film it or not.
That's crazy. And then I don't know. We'll drop it a little bit, but Davis is around the Boston Marathon.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why we were talking a lot about the endurance he's been grinding. But we'll probably have some training videos coming out regarding that. But I guess you want to just break down your training plan, or if you have one, and then.
Yeah, I'd say no dedicated training plan really, just sticking to the concept of doing long workouts at least once a week. I guess one of the staples of the marathon training is one long run a week, which is usually anything over 10 miles. So I'm trying to get a long workout, whether it's running or also biking, because you can bike a lot farther without injuring your knees, ankles, and joints. So you've probably seen, I think I had a 5-hour ride a few weeks ago. I did 2.5 hours yesterday.
Yeah.
Just to get your internal systems going though. Yeah,
because another new idea of training that I'm just starting to learn about is the low heart rate training, especially for these longer events. Because your body, we'll go, Davis, his body's been breaking down from these wicked long.
Yeah, it's been tough.
So he's had to take extra rest days. But the idea is that you go easier so that you can just be more consistent.
Yeah.
Davis, I mean, what do you think about that? Because I know you're not all about that. You're kind of go as hard as you can and then take rest days when you want.
Yeah. I do a lot of, I guess, low intensity training, just longer workouts.
Yeah.
But in terms of pushing it, I'll go pretty hard to the point where my body breaks down. Because even now, last few months, my whole right side, my whole right leg has been pretty injured. I injured my hip, and then most recently now, my ankle, my calf, everything's just as tight as can be. Because on those treadmill workouts, I'd set it so it'd be slightly uphill. So you'd be going uphill for 30, 40 minutes, even a couple, I think one was over 2 hours, just straight uphill. So, I mean, it feels like my calves are going to explode now. And I've got to do some flat running.
Yeah, so that's another thing I'm trying to tackle in my head is the idea of sleep. Because we were talking about this the other day too, is that sleep was kind of frowned upon, or it's, you got to be grinding. If you're sleeping in, you're a bum. But sleep is so important. I can see the difference when I know I need to sleep in, because I usually do 2 workouts a day. I do a lift/run in the morning for an hour. We work out about the same though, like 2 hours.
Like Brennan's going over there, he's boxing. And
then I usually do boxing at night. But then when I know I need to take a rest day if I'm at work during the day and I start dozing off, I know my body needs rest.
Yes.
It's all just getting in tune with your body. How do you get in tune with your body? Just through time.
I have no idea. I try not to think about it and just go out and do it. just get started, and usually the rest will happen. How about you? You have any routines?
Well, like what I just said is when I start doing this at work,
Yeah.
I know my body's getting tired, and I mean I'm a zombie at the end of the day a lot of times because I work out 2.5 hours a day, and then I go to work for like 8-9 hours a day, and I am a zombie at the end of the day.
You gave it everything you had. You put all your energy out.
Yeah, exactly. All my energy. It's like a gas tank, and at the end of the day, my gas tank. Nick Bear says it all the time. You just want to empty the gas tank by the end of the day, because then you gave it all you could, because that's all you can do each day. But I found doing this, like the sauna and a cold shower, has really helped me.
Nice.
It reminds me of the episode of SpongeBob where he's sick and he goes through the cleaning and he feels better. So I've just been doing that and stretching. But I guess anything else you got, or?
No, I'd say just hopefully we empty the gas tank every day without
Let's
fully
go.
breaking ourselves.
Empty the gas tank every day.
Yeah, empty the gas tank every day.
Heck yeah. Well, we'll see y'all next episode.
All right, see you everyone.